Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblue, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
DJ Warner, for a true freshman, has got the mind of a senior. I mean, he sees the game. He's natural. He's reactive. We're all very encouraged and very happy with DJ Warner.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblue here on the road, Palmetto Pigskin Tour. It is stop number 3, and we have made our way up I-26 to the beautiful burg of Clinton, South Carolina. Notice the correct pronunciation. Some people say Clinton. It's Clinton. It just sort of rolls off the tongue. Take your tongue and kind of stick it firmly in the roof of your mouth with about 40% pressure, and you can form the word Clinton very, very easily. Been saying that for a lot of years. Home of the Presbyterian College Blue Hose. And we are here looking forward to talking with the Blue Hose tonight. Coach Harold Nichols will be here in hour number 2. We're going to find out what he has in store for his team this year. Not a good year last year, a very good year for the Blue Hose the year before. So they'll try and bounce back from a down season in 2015. Looking forward to having the former Blue Hose quarterback and head coach in here with us in our second hour, along with a couple of the Blue Hose players. Kevin McCrary and the Professor Tom Hayes are not the players, the co-hosts back at our studios in downtown Columbia. K-Mac was over at USC today for a little social gathering with Will Muschamp and some of the other head coaches. And the Clemson football team today was mental day for the Tigers. No physical exercises, guys, just mental exercises. For some, that could be tougher than physical exercises.
Yeah, for a lot. Present company included, I would say. But
yeah.
Now, I'm sure that we've reached a dogs of camp officially. Once you get through 2 weeks, everybody's tired of hitting each other and the installation, and it's kind of overload at some point. You got to push through it. And I suspect probably sometime middle of next week, we could have our first Dabo's really unhappy. If we played Auburn today, we'd lose by 100 points speech. Will Muschamp's due for one of those too, I would say. He's still being pretty upbeat and positive. So at least he was today. He seems genuinely pleased with how they're progressing at this point over at USC. But I predict within the next 7 days, we'll get one of those fire and brimstone.
I thought you were going to say we're going to get a preseason depth chart, which written in ink for a change.
Yeah.
See if that happens.
I don't think that's happening over there because I think players are going to be moving in and out, up and down that lineup for at least the first couple of weeks as they try and sort things out. But, you know, as they move forward now, we're starting to turn that corner towards Vanderbilt. Much more of preseason work pretty soon. They've got to get guys in place, and just like at Clemson, they've got to, of course, most of their guys are in place. What does Clemson have open? They have one corner spot open. Maybe the nickel position could be debated. I think their defensive ends are set. I think their interior defensive line, their offensive line, tight end, receivers, quarterback, they're all set. South Carolina, a little more fluid, wide receiver, running back. I think their offensive line is pretty set. Tight end seems to be pretty set. Defensive front, they're running a bunch of people in and out there. Linebackers appear to be pretty set, and secondary still has some question marks. But we're going to be turning that corner here pretty soon where you want your top 22 in place and start to get your game planning ready for Vanderbilt. And the quarterback situation at South Carolina remains up in the air between McElwain and Orth. And we'll see what happens down the stretch. I think this scrimmage on Saturday will probably go a long ways toward determining who that starting quarterback is going to be. They might have an idea right now who they like the most, but I'm sure a full scrimmage situation on Saturday will say a lot about who that starter is going to be.
Do you think that the quarterback situation will change how you prepare for Vandy all that much? I mean, is any USC fan out there going to think differently one way or another about the outcome of Vanderbilt, depending on who that quarterback is?
I think so. Yeah, I think Gamecock fans are going to be disappointed if Brandon McElwain doesn't start. I don't know that that's justified at all, because frankly, if I had to pick between the two right now, and I'm not watching them practice every day, I would go with the experienced guy. Started in hostile environments before, but the feeling I get, guys, is that Gamecock fans, they want to see the new guy. They want to see their new toy.
Well, you know, I guess Corey Helms would tell you, K-Mac, that he believes in you, but they believe in Perry Orth. And Corey, for that reason, because of his leadership and likability on that team, whether he plays the whole game or not, I do have this feeling from an emotional and leadership standpoint that he will get the nod. And I would think that Brandon McElwain, even though he wants to start, will bow to his wishes, because apparently these guys have struck up almost an instantaneous friendship if you talk to Perry Orth. So I think out of respect for him, I think Perry Orth and his leadership abilities will get the nod on Thursday night, 3 weeks from tonight.
I disagree. I think it'll be, as things are now, barring a major setback, I think McElwain's going to be the guy. I think that the two are relatively close, maybe even, maybe McElwain a notch or two ahead. Who knows? But if it's even, you want to go with the younger guy and start to develop him. And if he has a problem, then you've got the luxury of going and turning to the more experienced guy and putting him in to try to settle things down. If you put Orth out there and he flounders as your more experienced guy, then the younger guy's got to come in and try and clean up the mess. So I think they go, if things stay even and Orth doesn't spurt ahead by a margin, I think they go McElwain first.
But if they're even, I mean, don't you give the edge to experience at some point? And let's face it, Orth is a leader. Now, he is leading that offense. He's a team leader out there and has been since last year, and that says something. I mean, he commands that huddle. McElwain is going to be a leader certainly one day. He is the quarterback of the future. He does have more upside, but I mean, there's also something about starting a guy in a game, making his first start on the road, all that pressure. He goes out there nervous, and he overthrows a few guys on the first few series. They go backwards, or worse, he throws an interception trying to force the ball, and you dig yourself a hole, and his confidence is shot. You have to bench him and bring in the other guy. I mean, you don't want to put McElwain out there until he is clearly your guy. And to me, if he's even, I'm going with the experience and saying, hey, you're going to play. You're pay attention. You are going to get into this game, but we're going with Perry just because he has the experience.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about it, you talk about that. Remember, they gave the start when everybody was sort of surprised to Connor Shaw in Charlotte against East Carolina. Shaw had a fumble, and I think he was a little rattled, and they had to put Garcia in the football
I mean,
game.
Steve Spurrier was a goofball when it came to how he ran his quarterbacks in and out of games. Let's face it. I mean, I think those days are probably
but I think the team at that point would have rather, because you could tell they turned when Garcia came in the game. That's why I say for an opening game, you go with the guy. Corn, for opposite reasons you say, when you pull a senior like Orth out of the game, mentally he knows, okay, I'm struggling. You take a young guy out of the game, you don't know what that does with his confidence if you snatch him out and then you put the senior in. I would rather have the veteran being pulled and put a more athletic guy in than vice versa, because I think you can affect the confidence of the younger player.
Well, it depends on the player, and not all young players are the same. Some can handle it right away, and some can't. McElwain, considering what he went through in his high school career and also being a big-time baseball prospect, the little bit that I've talked to him on the phone and in person, he seems like a guy that can certainly handle the pressure of the moment. And so I don't think he will be rattled. And at some point, maybe right away, experience, yes, important, but talent wins out. And who gives you the best chance to win with his arm and his legs? I think that's McElwain over Orth, but we will have to wait and see. We'll be back. What do you think? 800-956-7266, our number. Back in a moment. We are back at Sports Talk, Palmetto Pigskin Tour 2016. The third 10-leg tour that takes us all across the states. We've been to Orangeburg, we've been to Newberry, and tonight we're in Clinton at Presbyterian College. Hour number 2, Coach Harold Nichols will be here. Quarterback Ben Cheek, rising sophomore out of Franklin, Georgia. He'll be with us. And on the defensive side of things from the Blue Hose, it will be Obina Intasagwaha. Obina, I worked on this earlier. Obina Ntiasaway?
Wow.
Ntiasaway. That's it. Obina Ntiasaway. He is a defensive lineman from Ridgeview High School. Redshirt junior who was the leading sack man on the team last year. So I'm just going to call him Obi. I think that works for me. I think that works for everybody. We'll have them with us in hour number 2. We have time for some calls. If you'd like to join us, 800-956-7266. Our email is talkback@sportstalksc.com. We've got some email to get to. On Twitter, @SportsTalkSC is where you can reach us there. Make sure you check out the website. We're streaming, of course, live from here in Clinton, as well as our studios back in Columbia. I am sporting a freshly delivered Presbyterian College T-shirt tonight that Coach Nichols gave to me. I appreciate that very much. Always love getting fresh apparel when I make the stops around the state. For those willing,
AKA free stuff.
For those willing to donate to my closet, I appreciate.
When
that.
is the last time you actually bought a shirt, Corn? Because I'm trying to think. Every time you come in here, it seems like you're wearing a shirt that you've been given
I would
for free.
say, let's see,
shirts.
this is 2016, probably in about 1982 or 83. Yeah, were you alive then?
I think you're still wearing some of those 82, 83 shirts. But, yeah, the rest of them do seem like you've been handed those.
Yeah, I've got a Yankee shirt that I bought on my honeymoon, 37 years ago.
Yeah.
I still wear.
That's a nice one. I've seen it.
Yeah. Anyway, a few things to catch up on. First of all, K-Mac, fill us in on some of the notes from the USC gathering today.
Yeah, injury stuff, it was probably the biggest newsy thing. And I know Deebo Samuel's been in yellow a lot this week, and he is no longer in yellow. He's back out there. It was a hand tweak, according to Muschamp. It wasn't anything serious, so he's back out there. Brian Edwards also was dealing with a minor injury. He's back. Rico Dowdle back on the field. The most significant injuries they're facing right now, Lorenz Bryant's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a strain. I believe he said it was a hamstring strain for Lorenz Bryant, and Benson, right?
Benson.
With the D. Yeah, with the D.
Benson. Yeah.
He had his knee scoped, and he'll be back at some point, but he's out right now until he recovers.
Lorenz Bryant is one of those guys. You're scared if he goes into the shower.
He's always hurt. Yeah, he's hurt a lot. He is hurt a lot. But that's the injury update. And he said he likes where they are in terms of their installation. They're on schedule. Everything's going well. They did kind of a controlled scrimmage yesterday where they did some set pieces where goal line situations, and he tried to throw a lot of different scenarios at the players, and they still need to improve their tempo and things along those lines. He was asked what happened with David Williams. How did he fall so far so fast? Looked like he was the guy coming out of spring. Now he's 4th on the depth chart. And he said, don't be so quick to say he's 4th on the depth chart because they're working a lot of guys in. But he said flatly that A.J. Turner looks like the best back. And he's like, I'm watching these guys out there, and I'm watching it with my eyes. I can't go by what I believe or what I think is going to happen. I got to go by what is happening in front of me. And A.J. Turner has been our best back in this camp. So that's why he's getting the first team reps.
All right, very good. And new floor for the Colonial Life Arena, I understand, will be in place by next season.
Was that a Ray Tanner note?
Yeah,
that was a Ray Tanner note.
Yeah, I missed that part of the Ray Tanner note. He was talking some about Steve Spurrier and that, I don't want to say divorce, but whatever you want to call it, Steve Spurrier going back to Florida. And Tanner was, as you would expect, nothing but complimentary about Steve Spurrier and everything that he gave and his family gave to the university and what they delivered. So there is no ill will or bad blood or bad feelings from USC towards Steve Spurrier for him moving on and going back to Florida. Outside of Williams-Brice Stadium, we know that there was some storm damage to the Block C there on the press box side of the stadium that is going to be replaced before the first game, and a new sign, a new graphic sign that in that spot where Steve Spurrier's life size, well, more than life size, that huge Steve Spurrier poster used to be. Something new will go up there, Corn, but Ray Tanner would not divulge what that would be of.
Well, the only thing I know about the new floor is he did say it would have the Block C and maybe somewhere a palmetto tree on it. Now, he didn't say they were going to have all that long writing all over the floor. I'm just assuming it's dangerous when you assume that they want to get rid of some of that noisy writing that was all over the floor.
Yeah, because it had the Block C in South Carolina underneath the Block C, if memory serves correct.
Or the other way around.
There's nothing wrong with nice, clean, classic-looking floor. You know,
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the clean, classic look. If that's where they decide to go, we'll have to wait and see. All right, and what else? Is that it? Anything else from any other sports of interest, or does that cover everything?
No,
They hire a new play-by-play guy yet?
Well, Ray Tanner said he was going to name you the play-by-play guy if you were there today, but you didn't show up. He said he's going to pay you a lot of money. These are his words, but you didn't show up, so you didn't get the job, Corn. I hate to tell you. Showing up's, half the battle. 90% of everything in life, I'm told, and you blew that part of it. So
I'd have to convert a lot of inner feelings and say things like "Go Cox" and "we" and "us" and things like that.
It would have been hard. And I explained to Ray that you probably wouldn't feel comfortable replacing a legend. You don't want to be like Chad Holbrook replacing Ray Tanner in the dugout. So it probably worked out best for everybody.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Well, good luck to the next person there. We wish them the best. All right, a couple of other notes. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. We were going to talk about this last night, and we ran out of time. But that situation at Alabama looks like, from last night, Nick Saban caved and is going to let Maurice Smith transfer to Georgia without any strings attached now. So that thing, again, your mama got involved there, and mama got him one-on-one, and tongue-in-cheek here, shaking him up a little bit. I'm sure it was something more than that got involved. They probably reached a point in Alabama where they said, you know what, this ain't worth it. The PR hit's not worth it. Just cut your losses and move on.
I would agree with you, unless somebody mentioned court, and then they say, "Oh, well, no, well, we're not going there." So that may have happened.
Yeah, no doubt. They could have mentioned something like that. From the Tennessee football team, sophomore Darrell Miller is no longer with the Vols, reserve defensive back. So he's out of the loop there at Rocky Top. From LSU, sophomore receiver Tyron Johnson is leaving. He's going to transfer to another program. Did you see the video of Leonard Fournette and a teammate duking it out in the parking lot of some building there in Baton Rouge in the last day or so? Garrett Brumfield and Fournette were duking it out in the parking lot after practice on Tuesday in what's been described as a serious fist fight that was caught on camera by teammates who were standing there laughing and saying, throw it down, throw it down. Did you see it?
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to settle things mano-a-mano.
But if you're the guy, let's just say Fournette landed some punches.
Yes, he did.
Let's just say he breaks his hand or his wrist landing a punch.
Well, I didn't say
you want to be the guy. You want to be the guy that provided him with the head on
I'm
which
just
he
glad
broke his
they
hand.
were beating each other. The way the summer's gone, the way it's gone lately, at least they were beating each other up, and it wasn't some co-ed or this is a minor story. It's like, oh, good. It was just they were beating each other up this time, not some innocent person on the street.
All right, we'll be back here on Sports Talk from Clinton and Columbia on this Thursday night. Don't go away. Welcome back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblut in Clinton at Presbyterian College, the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Kevin McCrary, the Professor Tom Hayes, and I should mention Jarmart, Jared Rogers Martin, because he breaks in on the conversation from time to time, and you need to know who that voice belongs to. That's Jarmart and Carson Mason on hand as well. 800-956 888-267-7266 is the phone number. A couple of other quick notes from Florida. True freshman corner C.J. McWilliams, a torn ACL.
Oof.
He is out for the season. The Gators now have 7 players in the secondary, though, who can play cornerback this season. They've also lost safety Quincy Linton to a broken foot, and offensive guard Antonio Riles lost him to an ACL. At Georgia, player is leaving, a considerably good player. Tim Kimbrough Jr. is leaving Georgia, going to transfer to another school. He was the team's 3rd leading tackler last season with 67. His father confirmed the news. He was not running first team. Reggie Carter and Natrez Patrick were running first team at inside linebacker, and Roquan Smith is expected to see increased playing time as well. He's had some issues. He was suspended from the bowl game last year. He missed some practice time in the spring for academic issues, and so he's decided to depart. And, of course, the very sad news out of River Bluff High School from last night, something that has taken everybody's breath away, the death of a football player at River Bluff High School, 14-year-old young man passing away after practice yesterday. They rushed to him. They did all they could on the field. They got him to the hospital, but they could not revive him. So, sorry to hear that news. He was identified today positively, was he not, guys?
He was. He was, and I don't have
Simpkins. Yeah, the last name is Simpkins, 14 years old. Sort of surprised me because every article I read, they have him as a sophomore. And I said, well, 14 years old, that's kind of young for a sophomore. But I think he was around 265, 270.
Yeah. Certainly, our thoughts go out to his family and to the Lewis Simpkins, his name, by the way, Lewis Simpkins, and Coach David Bennett, of course, good friend of Sports Talk. And gosh, you just as a coach, you just it cuts into your soul when something like that happens. No coach wants to have to deal with something like that. So we hate to hear that happening. All right, the Panthers are in action tonight. Hey, there's some real football finally. Didn't get any this past Sunday after they determined that the players could not play on the field there in Canton, Ohio. So we get real fake NFL football tonight because it is exhibition stuff. But it'll be the Panthers, one of the teams playing tonight. Panthers up in Baltimore. So I don't expect Cam Newton and the frontliners will play a whole lot. They'll get a little taste of things out there. But at least it'll be football to see. Now, coming up here on the program from a Clemson standpoint, we're going to hear from Christian Wilkins, sophomore standout on the defensive line. He spoke with the media yesterday after the Tiger scrimmage. But today came back, Will Muschamp came up with reporters to update some things. Why don't you lead us into that?
Yeah, it was very informal, very impromptu at a media luncheon that they had over at Williams-Brice Stadium. Normally there's a media golf tournament, but Will Muschamp, he doesn't have time for that noise on the golf course. So we all got together at Williams-Brice Stadium and caught up with him briefly. Let's listen in on what he had to say.
Situation, get him back full speed, but he's at about, 4 months out from March, about 4.5 months out. So he just got to build his strength back. So that's why he's not practicing as much. We try to do some things with him, but you just got to be careful because his strength levels aren't exactly where we want them to be. And Lon Denson did have a scope on his knee, on the meniscus. He'll be back this year. I mean, it's not a season deal. It's just that's only knock on wood. Guys, we've had a lot of contact, a lot of physicality. Held up and pretty good. So
all of a sudden, he's running behind a redshirt freshman and 2 walk-ons.
We haven't really set a depth chart, so we rotate guys through there. But AJ Turner's distance himself to be our best back. That's pretty evident to me. I just watch what I see. I don't know. I can't hope for things. I just watch what I see on tape and what I watch on the field. So AJ Turner's distance. So after that, we'll see what happens.
What do you like about when play this moving inside?
Well, we're trying to build depth for the season, so it's not about, for me, it never has been just to put the next guy in. It's about put the next best player in. So he's a guy that has the girth and athleticism to play both spots. And so you got to build for the season. So if we have an injury inside, it's not about just putting the next guy in. Who's the next best player for us? And he is a guy that can do both things because of his athleticism, his girth. So I've been pretty pleased with him. He's going to rush inside for us on third down. That was a plan anyways, and we'll continue to push for that. He's done a nice job. We'll continue that through Saturday, and then probably moving back to end and regular down situations and still keep him rushing inside on third down.
You going to leave Dante outside, or is he going to be both in and out?
Well, right now outside, and the possibility of, again, we got to get – we're not a fast twitch team up front. So we've got to get our best rushers in the game, and certainly right now it would seem he would be one of those four, whether that's inside or outside. I couldn't answer that. But he certainly has been a guy that has shown a little twitch on the edge and been able to rush the pass.
How far along are you guys in terms of install?
We're on schedule. I mean, as far as we haven't held back a lot. It's been, I think the first 4 days going split squad helped us because we're able to not have to pull things back because of the younger guys. You're able to teach them at a slower pace, so they've got better attention day to day to what we're trying to do. So, and I feel very good about where we are. Yesterday we scrimmaged. I mean, we got after it. We had about, I would say, probably 80 total scrimmage snaps yesterday, which was good. We needed that. We got the coaches off the field, let the players play. We were very basic in our operation and what we did. The day before, we had a great night of 1 minute. We had about 4 different situations before half, end of game, last plays of the game, different things we're going to call and expose our players to those situational things that are so important. A lot of third down, kind of very similar practice tonight. We're going to continue to work on our tempo. We need to play faster offensively. We need to be prepared for it defensively. So we'll have 2 situations tonight for that and some more end-of-game situation. We lost 5 games by 7 points or less. So obviously the decision-making as a player and as a coach in those situations, we're trying to put our guys to as many of those as we can.
All right, there you go. Will Muschamp from sort of a off-the-cuff meeting with the media today over at this little luncheon that they had at USC to bring out some of their head coaches. What other head coaches were there, K-Mac?
Other head coaches that were there, I think Moody, the swim coach, was there, and he's got some athletes that'll be performing in Rio. And let's see,
Boo Major
was there. Yes, equestrian. And I think those were the only 2. No, I saw Shelly Smith, women's soccer coach, was there. I don't know that I saw Mark Burson. No, there wasn't a lot of people there. Mostly media there for the free meal. And Will Muschamp.
Gee, imagine that.
Okay.
Very good.
It was a good
Very
meal,
good.
I will say that.
I'm sure it was.
And we were told how appreciated we all are and what a good job we do.
Well, that's good. It's always good to get the old pat on the back.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
Until the first loss. All right, 800-956-7266 is the number if you'd like to join us tonight here on Sports Talk. I was not able to make it to the luncheon today because I had a previously scheduled speaking engagement to the Columbia Kiwanis Club. Had a great time over there talking to them. I shared with them the same thing I've said here on the show. I think Clemson will never lose another football game ever, and I think the Gamecocks could win 7. Vandy game being extremely important to get off to a good start. We will come back, check out some email, phone calls, and more here on Sports Talk. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266. Caller off the air was asking about the scrimmage on Saturday. It's not open. He was wondering if it was open.
Nope.
And when it was. It's not open on Saturday, so don't make plans to go out there for that.
Now, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week, practice is open. Those are the only 3 that are open. So
it is 6:30 practice.
Those are your opportunities to go out there and watch practice.
All right, couple of pieces of email. Our buddy Mr. Payne, appropriately named. After the smug comments from Billy from Myrtle Beach Monday, I'd like to make just one observation. The 2 top-ranked teams in the ACC, Florida State and Clemson, are scheduled to play Friday night regular season games this year. Can you imagine Alabama and Tennessee being asked to play on Friday night? And as Billy from Myrtle Beach always says, I'll take your comments off the air. Well, it is a plight against the ACC that they play games on Friday night. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's low rate. And I don't know why they do it, except, of course, they're getting some money from ESPN, but I think it makes the league look small. But that's what they're doing, and, so be it. This is from Louise. I heard you mention Andy Demetra and Georgia Tech Monday night, but I did not hear any details. You know anything about what prompted this move? I really, really liked listening to him and Casey Manning in basketball season and him and Tommy Moody for baseball. I think USC will have a hard time finding anyone as good and knowledgeable as he is. Well, he just got what he thinks is a better opportunity at Georgia Tech. You can't blame him because I guess at Tech he may do all 3. He may do football, basketball, and baseball.
He's just doing football and basketball.
He's not going to do baseball.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
And Georgia Tech, apparently it is not affiliated. They still do in-house. They're not an IMG property. That's what I was told today. So he'll be working directly for Georgia Tech. And look, if you're doing football, that's bigger than just doing basketball and baseball. So
sure, everybody wants to do football. If you're a college play-by-play announcer,
right?
It's the gold ring. You want to do football. So,
but and my guess in terms of a replacement, USC, the way they have handled these sorts of things in the past is they'll let IMG present them with some candidates, probably from within their IMG family. That's where Demetra came from. I mean, he was working out of Winston-Salem, just doing things, production and different things there. And
he was doing some women's basketball,
and gave him the opportunity at USC, and they signed off on it. And that's probably will be the case now. But I'm told there's a lot of people that are interested.
Mm-hmm. Are you interested, K-Mac?
I am not interested. Yeah. And Corn, you're now off Ray Tanner's list because he wanted to hire you today and you didn't show up. So that was a big screw up on your part.
Man, I could have gotten some free Seawells and a job. That was. I wish I had known.
Said he's
going
to pay you a lot. His words. I was going to pay him a lot of money. That's what he said.
Wow. With all the money they're spending, I don't know that they've got any money left in the budget over there. I mean, they're building this administration building, and they're going to try and prevent this guy from building in the parking lot and try and buy him out, and So now there's one more piece of email that we got in here from a guy, a Clemson fan, Mr. Jim Burton, and this email deserved more attention than just our normal rip and read approach to email. So we turned it over to Jarmart to handle it for us. Jarmart?
Phil, first of all, I wanted to let you know that I stopped listening to your show a long time ago for good reasons. When I got into my vehicle tonight, I had been listening to The Point today, and that station was still on. Your talk just reinforced why I stopped listening to you. The first thing I heard you say was something about some coach anonymously saying that Clemson's offensive line is suspect and can't move the defense off the line. This was not quoted. Is that the only thing you could find written about Clemson today? Or is it because your team is so poor that you have to knock on Clemson? I can find you a lot of great articles posted about Clemson to research, can't find any. If that person is anonymous, then that person could possibly be you. Clemson's offensive line hasn't had much problem the last 2 years running over your team's defense or very few others. How does anyone outside of Clemson know what they can do? Sounds like sour grapes. And to think that Steve Spurrier Jr. is going to be of any help in stopping Clemson if they meet again is a joke. And to bring up the possibility that Venables is stealing the other team's offensive plays is pretty absurd, especially if you don't have proof. Like Kevin said, it's the other team's responsibility to block our defense if they can. We may not make it to the national championship again this year, but we're the only team in South Carolina that has a chance. You call your radio show the sports network for the state of South Carolina. You ought to call it the Gamecock Network. You are so biased for a sports radio talk show host. I listen to real national sports show hosts, and they don't do it. Maybe your job would have been in jeopardy if you said something bad about Spurrier. I might just listen to you some of this football season to see how you put a spin on how good your team is doing. It ought to be fun listening to how your team is doing with freshman quarterbacks in the SEC. I always heard that freshmen couldn't do it in the SEC. Why can't you give credit to Clemson where credit is due? Regards, a happy Tiger.
Oh, my goodness. Good job there, Jarmark. Good job. Appreciate Mr. Burton writing in. Of course, what he doesn't know, I had to inform him that that story, to my eyes, originated on TigerNet. All right. So it wasn't a story that originated on our website. We didn't create it. I saw it on TigerNet and took it off of there, and we talked about it last night. So we appreciate his concern about our approach to things and our fairness to the Tigers and the Gamecocks. All right, 800-956-7266 is the number. We are in Clinton. It is the Palmetto Pigskin Tour Stop. We're at Presbyterian College. Coach Harold Nichols is here with us, and we'll get to him in our next hour. And we have a couple of the Blue Hose players as well coming in to join us tonight. We had a little change in the lineup. We had a little platoon action going on. We were going to, I was told at the outset, but we have made a change and gone with the all Big South Conference running back, 1,000-yard rusher last year. Darrell Bridges will be here. What a year he had, over 1,000 yards rushing. Led the team in many offensive categories. He is a redshirt junior from Chattanooga, the Choo-Choo. And OB will be here too. We're just going to call him OB because he's got too many, not vowels, but he's got too many consonants in his last name. Okay, here we go. Obina Intiasaway. I've been working on it. Obina Intiasaway. They'll be here in our next hour. We'll get a preview of the Blue Hose. And I'll tell you what, I was looking at the schedule, and Coach Nichols will address this. Tough. Only 4 home games. First 3 games on the road. First 4 out of 5 on the road. That traditional season-ending rivalry game at Florida to close things out. That's right. You dump Newberry, and you pick up Florida to play to be your rival game there at the end of the year. So it's tough, playing these money games. We talked about that at South Carolina State with Buddy Pugh earlier in the week. And but these guys, they want to get out and take on these bigger teams and perhaps pull off an upset or two here along the way. Look, last year Presbyterian went to Miami of Ohio and gave them all they wanted. Really, they were in that ball game all the way through. In fact, they had several games like that along the way last year. They were in it, and big play here, big play there. That close to having a few more wins last season. The Blue Hose coming off a year of 2-9, 1-5 in the Big South. Before that, in 2014, 6-5 and 3-2 in the Big South. One of their best years under Coach Nichols. So he will try and bounce them back this season and get back on the winning side of things. All right, it's the top of the hour break here on Sports Talk. When we come back, Palmetto Pigskin Tour kicks into high gear. We'll be talking to the folks here at the Presbyterian. We'll have a college football ACC, SEC preview for you with the Kentucky Wildcats and some comments from Clemson defensive lineman Christian Wilkins in the next hour as well. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. The Palmetto Pigskin Tour stop tonight is at Presbyterian College, home of the Blue Hose. And we welcome in Coach Harold Nichols to Sports Talk. Another stop here at PC. Always good to see you and looking forward to what we hope is going to be a big year this year.
No question, Phil. We really appreciate South Carolina Sports Talk Radio being here in Clinton, South Carolina, and talking some Blue Hose football here with you tonight. We sure are excited about getting the 2016 season started.
Not a good sign when you can hardly talk. Who are you yelling at?
Well, a little bit of everybody probably. No, I actually went out and bought a megaphone the other day. Try to help me out a little bit, but it's having a hoarse voice is kind of a good sign this time of year because we really worked hard these first 6 or 7 days of practice. We started last Friday, so got a lot of work already behind us, but we still got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. Well, I know one thing, you got to get better on offense.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's something we really concentrated on here this all season. And, we really had, a little bit of an identity crisis last year offensively. We felt like we were able to run the football at times on people, but, got to be able to throw the football down the field and put the ball in the end zone. We were really good on special teams, outstanding defensively, and just not as opportunistic offensively as we needed to be. We would drive the football on folks and stall in the red area. And, that's been a theme that we've had all year about finishing drives, finishing practices, finishing plays. And, I'm optimistic here these first 7 or 8 days. We've got some experienced guys back on offense that understands, what it takes to be successful. I think, for us to go start at the quarterback position, getting some production out of that area. We've got Ben Cheek coming back, who was a redshirt freshman last year, and he spent most of the year drinking out of a fire hose. And, playing Division I football in some of the arenas that we play in, is really tough. But he got better as the year went on. And, with him last year, I was worried about him protecting the football and, just getting us an opportunity to, get some first downs and get a drive together. And, he's gotten so much better, so much more confident. It's hard being a young quarterback playing in this league that we play in. And, so I think we'll reap some of the benefits of that. And I think that quarterback room will be better. We got some guys behind him that are really pushing him and working. And, I think we've been able to recruit some kids offensively that's going to come in and be able to help us. We had some injuries outside at wide receiver that hurt us, and we've got hurt some depth-wise there. And, fortunately we had Darrell Bridges. Darrell Bridges is a great running back and had a really good year for us. And, but he can't tote it all the time, and be the only guy. And so we've got to help him a little bit. And, those guys are going to do their job. And, but I'm optimistic. Like I say, I think that, offense is something that takes a little while to gel together. Sure. I think we've got a good plan and really look forward to seeing what these guys can do this fall.
What do you see in Ben that you like fitting in with your offense?
Well, the thing that Ben brings to the table is he's a great athlete. All right. And he can extend plays with his legs. You see it all over college football right now, up there at Clemson with Deshaun Watson and guys at Carolina bringing in there good athletes that can run. And that's we know where college football is going right now. And we feel like we got a few guys that can do that, Ben being one of them. And, when I say he's had a great offseason, I mean that I've never seen a kid work like he has, going all the way back to January. And he had a great winter, had a really good spring, and you can just see him building confidence as we go along here. And it started to show these first 6 or 7 practices of August too. So, he can make all the throws. He's a smart kid. He cares. Get a little bit about him. He wants to be a Navy SEAL when he graduates from college. So if that tells you a little bit about him, he's first one there and last one to leave every day. And if I'm going to get in a foxhole, I'm going to get in the foxhole with him.
Sounds to me like he's got some guts.
like I say, I've very few kids that I've ever been around like him that bring that to the table.
Yeah.
And he cares. He's a great teammate, and he's a good leader. And not only through his voice, but more by his action and leading his teammates.
Tell me about this guy sitting to your left, Darrell Bridges, and boy, you talk about him as a running back, your first 1,000-yard rusher. As a member of NCAA FCS football. Not only that, led you in all-purpose yardage, invaluable to your team.
Well, he is. Darrell is a guy that, he wants the football when the game's on the line. And he's a tremendous competitor. Doesn't want to get taken out, wants to be in there in the game. And the thing that he's gotten better at that people really don't see a lot, he plays better without the football. And that's something we've really worked on, pass protection and catching the ball out of the backfield and those kind of things. But he's an old classic runner. He rushed for almost 3,000 yards as a senior in high school and took Ridgeland High School to the state championship in Georgia. So what he does is not a surprise. I know he can break tackles. He has great vision. And he's also had a good winter, and has been a good teammate and a good leader on the offensive side of the ball. So, those are some of the intangible qualities that Darrell brings to the table.
Yeah. How much do you want to load up the offense on him? You talk about, but if you got a horse, you got to ride that horse, don't you?
Yeah, you do. But I think what happens is in college football, those guys are smart. And they're going to load the box on you and make it difficult to block that 7th and 8th guy in there. And so we've got to do some things to help our running game and, be better down the field throwing the football. And we've worked really hard on that here these first, 7 or 8 days and going all the way back to the spring. And we've got some exciting young guys at receiver that I think are going to help us, and we got to be able to protect the quarterback. And we got to be able to pitch and catch. And, that's something we're all, really going to emphasize and get that going.
Last year, gosh, if you just have gotten your offense because you played some good teams, really close games, but you just couldn't score. You only gave up 10 points to Charleston Southern in a loss. You gave up 14 points to Gardner-Webb in a loss. Only 21 to Liberty in a loss. Monmouth scored. I mean, your defense was really good. Will your defense be as good this year?
Right.
And the hope is the offense will catch up?
Well, I think this, we lost all of our conference games by an average of 5 points. It's a frustrating stretch to go through. We were, sound in the kicking game, got all those hidden yardage. We're in the top 20 in the country net punting and, played really, really good defense. And, when you go back to 2014, when we won all those games, beat Furman, beat Western Carolina, had a winning record in our league, and beat Charleston Southern. I think what happens is those balls bounced our way that year. And last year, for whatever reason, they didn't. And an old coach told me one time, you're in enough close ball games, you're going to win your fair share and you're going to lose your fair share. And we lost ours last year. So, you can't take for granted that you're going to be good on defense again. Now we've got some guys defensively that are coming back that have played a lot of football for us, especially up front. OB's here with us tonight. You're going to be able to visit with him here in a few minutes. But, Cameron Mack and Derek Washington, Curtis Bay, Curry Rozier, J.C. Eldell. We've had a lot of guys up there play a lot of football for us. And we got some exciting guys in the back end. I think we've recruited well on that side of the football, but, they haven't played a lot. And, we've got 2 corners, Kenny Coleman and Rocky Sin, who played a lot last year's true. Up there at Miami, Ohio, we're sticking them in the game in the third quarter. It's a 1-score game, and those guys are out there 18 years old, up there playing in the MAC. So got some young guys that will provide some depth, and but we've got a lot of work to do there. I'm excited about potentially us being good on defense, but that's why they keep scoring September and October.
Yeah. You've got OB here, and very good pass rusher, 5.5 sacks last season. How good can he be this year?
Well, I think he's finally trying to get a little healthy. Obina, had a knee injury against Wake Forest his freshman year and was playing a lot, and so he's coming off of it. And really, these last 2 years, you can see it kind of coming, with him. And he's got great pad level and uses his hands very well. And he's a smart football player. and he's a quick twitch, and he's a big old dude. You'll be able to see him in a little bit, but, and he's hard to block. And so we've got a few guys like him up there that hopefully he will be able to, set a point on defense and be able to rally to the football and be able to get themselves off the field on third down.
Tough schedule.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I own it. It's ours.
Yeah.
We're going to go and attack it and not make any excuses, and, you're on the road those first 3 weeks. You got to go play a good Central Michigan team, which was a bowl team last year, and got to go on the road and play Chattanooga. Chattanooga's preseason number 6, and we played them in a game last year. It was really tough, and then you got Campbell on the road. So
let me jump in here. About to hit a break. Thank you as always. Look forward to having your players here in just a moment. We'll continue from PC.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk. South Carolina Union College, the Palmetto Pigskin Tour stop with the Blue Hose. We're going to talk to the players in just a moment, but Coach Nichols is still with us. We have a phone call for him, someone identified as Cameron, joining us here on Sports Talk. Cameron, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
We're doing fine. You know the head coach of Blue Hose?
I do.
Who is he to you?
Oh, he's my dad.
This wouldn't be a staged phone call, would it?
It is not, I promise.
What, do you have a message for the old man?
I do. I just wanted to ask, how will the freshman class do this year for you guys?
Well, Cameron, that's a good question. You need to take out the garbage before you go to bed tonight, okay? But I think that this freshman class, top to bottom, both sides of the ball, really excited about the way we recruited this year. I think those guys will be able to make an impact for us this year. But that's a good question, Cameron.
Give your mom a kiss before you go to bed and take out the garbage.
I will.
And walk the dog. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. A little extra bonus Nichols family moment there here on Sports Talk Pigskin Tour. Let's welcome in the Bluehost players who are here with us and get their opinion on the way things are shaping up for this coming season. Derek Bridges, we talked about him. Outstanding running back, looking to go for another 1,000-plus yards this year with the Bluehost. How are you? Good to have you with us.
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
And Obi is here.
Yes, sir.
Obina. I'm going to try it again. I got it right a moment ago. Let's see. I've got to eyeball it. Go ahead. Say it for me, Obina. Intiasaway. That's not so hard.
No, not really.
It's just hard to spell.
Yeah, you ain't got to worry about that one. I do.
You do that, okay. I got a name like Cornblute, all right? So I've been using a lot of letters my entire life. Mr. Bridges, what about the offense? We talked about that. You were a huge part of it. They need more of you, or they need more from other areas. Looked in practice, what do you think about what you're going to bring to the table?
As an offense, we definitely need to come together as one. We're definitely gelling. As a leader on the offense, I definitely like Ben Cheek, how he stepped up this off season. He was here through January, spring. He didn't go home this summer. He stayed summer 1 and summer 2. So I like the leadership that Ben's bringing into the table. The guys out wide are stepping up, making catches that, they wouldn't have made, a couple years ago. And the offensive line are making checks and making calls, and we're picking up blitzes. And, we're giving Ben time to make plays, opening up holes for me and the guys backfield. So I can't complain. We look pretty good.
So you see more weaponry on the offense?
Oh, definitely, especially with those guys. See, the jail as an offense is definitely a lot stronger, a lot tighter, the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm. How much of the offensive load do you want to carry this year?
Without being selfish, I want it
go
all.
ahead, be selfish, man.
Without being selfish, I wouldn't mind 30 to 40 carries, but no. I definitely like sharing the ball and blocking for those guys who block for me, and making plays out in the boundary for guys to break free and allow Ben to
86 yards total.
Yes,
football team, 6 games of 100 yards or more rushing.
Yes, sir.
So you feel like you had a pretty good year last year?
It was good, but it wasn't good enough. We still left some points out on the field, some yards. So it's definitely a lot I can do better. And as an offense, we can do better. So, I'm looking for another big year, but I'm also looking to, for the team to have another big year.
Obina, defense really was good enough last year to help win a lot of games. I know you're optimistic, hopeful the offense will step up and help you guys out a little bit more this year.
Yeah, I believe so. Even just after the first week of camp, they're giving us a little run for our money. So we got to up the ante, and that's what we're doing. We're getting ready to win some games this year. Finishing in the fourth quarter. We were in the game in the fourth quarter in every conference game, really. Mm-hmm. So the difference here is we trying to finish, and that's what we're doing out there in practice every day. That's what our coach was like that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you see so far from the defense in camp, and what kind of carried over from last year's defensive performance?
Well, like you said, up front, we've all played a lot. A few people, but the people that are stepping up to play are gaining their confidence. We got our own Ben Cheeks on our side of the ball, so It's going to be a whole different team, but it's going to be for the better.
Do you see a defense that is playing physical defense, running to the ball well? What positive attributes do you see from the defense?
Running to Coach Spangler. Running to the ball is habitual for us. So that's what gives us a lot of chances. We know we're not the biggest, fastest defense out there, but we hustle. So getting to the ball is what we take pride in.
Never give up on a play.
Exactly. It's not over till that whistle's blown.
Yeah. Daryl, as far as the confidence of the offense going into this year, trying to build that confidence level in camp, where are you guys there, and who are some of the leaders who've kind of taken this offense by the throat and said, okay, guys, we're gonna put towards some touchdowns this year?
Yes, sir. I think myself, Ben Cheek, and Brian Bristow have definitely stepped up. Out wide, we have DJ Wilson and we have Darquez Watson, who have really, sat down with the offense and, let everybody know we're going in the up direction, and that is the only way we want to win games as a team. Our side of the ball was kind of what held us back. And definitely moving forward in these past 6 days, we're trying to play fast. We're trying to, keep the game in front of us. We don't want to play from behind, and we don't want to, let teams out physical us or, anything. I think definitely as an offense we are, moving in the right direction.
Looking at the Big South this year, of course, Coastal is there, but they're not. I mean, they're not competing for the championship. So you know what? You're going to finish ahead of them no matter what. All right, but you want to beat them. I get that. But where do you see you guys factoring in? We'll start with you, Daryl. Where do you see you guys factoring in the Big South race?
I would like to say on top.
Yeah, of course.
But definitely, as we're always the underdogs. We pick every game to be an underdog, so it's going to be pretty good because we were picked last in the conference. So every game is an upset, and every game.
But the media doesn't know the first thing about what it's doing when it comes to picking these teams. Come on.
Yeah,
don't give us too much credit.
No, definitely. But I would like to see us finish on top, and I think we will if we can finish. That's been our big focus throughout the spring and throughout the summer, and definitely fall camp is just finishing every rep, finishing every play, because we didn't last year.
Yeah. How about you, OB, as far as where you think you guys win a championship or make a run to the upper part of the league?
The way the Big South works, any team can be any team on any given Saturday. So if you ask me, it should have been like a 6-way tie for first place, but we got picked last, so we're going to climb that ladder and take over.
You take some confidence, some positive feeling from the fact that even though you didn't win the games, you were, as Coach said, you were in those Big South games, almost every one of them last year, and had a chance to win. Does that kind of give you the feeling that you can get over the hump?
Yeah, because a lot of those games we shot ourselves in the foot. It's not so much plays they made, it's just errors we made on our fault. We lost those games. So of course we watch those films, and we're here for another year, so it should be a different outcome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys, listen, we thank you very much for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk, the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Best of luck to you. Hope it goes extremely well. Got a little tough start to the season as far as being on the road those first few weeks, going to Central Michigan, going to Chattanooga, then to Campbell. So, but you take nothing for granted. But you go out there and get yourself a big upset early on and kind of set the tempo and set the tone for this season, right, Daryl?
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's what we plan. We play home, too well, so
think big.
Yes, sir.
Think big.
You have to.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And Daryl Bridges from the Presbyterian and defensive end. We thank them for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk along with Coach Harold Nichols. We'll be right back. I'm going to activate the microphone here and see if that'll switch the. You are presenting to everyone. What does that mean? Do you see me on the screen now? Well, I like it to go back and forth when they're talking. I like for them to be on the screen when I'm talking. I noticed last night I was looking back and it didn't switch, and I think because I had the on the stream turned off, and it would typically it changes automatically based on what it's hearing. Right. Here All right, thanks again to the Blue Hose for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk as we come to you from Presbyterian College. And coming up, some comments from Clemson's Christian Wilkins and a preview of the Kentucky Wildcats. We did not do, I cannot believe this. We got so caught up in our email recruiting in its normal time slot. I know a lot of you are going crazy out there. That might have caused some havoc on the streets of South Carolina. Could have been some accidents out there.
I'm not going to lie. You got a few calls about why we didn't do recruiting.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Not from me.
Recruit nuts are a rabid bunch.
It's called an answered prayer is what I call that.
Here we go. The family of offensive lineman Austin Payne, he's 6'4", 285 out of Ashburnham, Massachusetts. You talk about some football roots. His great-grandfather, George, played in the NFL in the 1930s. His grandfather played for the Patriots. An uncle also played for several NFL teams. He played at Virginia Tech. You might remember him. I think it was Jim Pine. His father and another uncle, they played college football. His younger brother, Kevin, who's in the 8th grade, is already 6'8", 260. And he has and is developing as a prospect. And he has a cousin, Drew Pine, as a member of the 2020 class, is already holding a USC offer. He's a quarterback. So last weekend, Austin, Kevin, and their father visited the Gamecocks. Request of the school, Austin has some FCS offers right now. He's hoping to add some SEC and ACC offers from his performance this season. USC offensive line coach Sean Elliott plans to keep an eye on him. And they met with Elliott while they were in for that visit. They really like Elliott, and Elliott seems to like him as well. But, again, they want to evaluate him on senior film. He plays guard and center. He's also visited Penn State, Virginia, North Carolina, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and West Virginia. And, of course, they were very excited about USC, the SEC. They love the city, and they love the campus and all that. Louisville still leads for receiver Justin Marshall of Covington, Georgia. Louisville and USC, Maryland, Tennessee, Auburn, West Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, and Oregon. That's his official top 9. He said he favors the Cardinals because he has a great relationship that he's built with them over time. And he said that Louisville's always been like a second home to him, and he has family from Louisville. He has friends there. Now, USC has one of his really close friends, Stephen Montag, on their team. And he's like a role model to Marshall. They're from the same town. Of course, Montag came from a junior college. He also has a close relationship with USC receivers coach Brian McClendon, and he talks frequently with him. He really likes South Carolina. He likes Coach McClendon. He likes his coaching style. He plans to announce on August 15th. That's coming up. But even then, he'll still take 5 official visits after his commitment. So his commitment may not be all that strong once he makes it. He plans to visit Tennessee Saturday unofficially, and he hopes to get back to Louisville soon. USC target athlete Shakur Brown of Stockbridge, Georgia, was offered by Florida. 2019 linebacker Owen Popo of Logan, Georgia, going to Tennessee this weekend. Clemson and USC have offered him. Receiver Leroy Henley Jr. of Fort Lauderdale has a USC offer. He had planned to announce something this week, but now he has delayed a decision for a little while. J.C. Sherbert of the Big Spur reporting that 2018 linebacker Dax Holyfield of Shelby, North Carolina, was at USC today to watch the Gamecocks practice. In basketball, shooting guard Peyton Broughton of London, Kentucky, announces his decision on Monday. Clemson is in his top 4. And forward Duncan DeMuth of Seminole, Florida, has a USC offer back in July. He was offered by North Florida today. All right, that's what I have for recruiting. K-Mac, what do you have?
I have, let's see, I have nothing. Nothing. I'm just watching the Panthers and the Baltimore Ravens in this crucial, this must-win exhibition opener. Don't win this, really, I think it's a disaster.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is I can always find something to watch exhibition play. And I like to see what these 3 people in the secondary are going to do for the Panthers because they had a salty defense last year with that pass rush. In fact, that front 7 is outstanding. We'll see if these young guys, including maybe 2 rookies they put in there this year, can hold up.
All right, well, we'll see what they can do in their first exhibition game in Baltimore tonight. It was kind of an exhibition yesterday at Clemson. The Tigers had their first major scrimmage of a preseason camp, and there were some big plays made by the offense. There were some sacks made by the defense. Christian Wilkins, of course, going to be a mainstay of that defensive front for the Tigers moving ahead to 2016. He was impressive as a rookie last year. He'll get many more snaps. After the scrimmage yesterday, this scrimmage just talked with the media about the scrimmage and how things looked from a defensive standpoint. All right, I'm told that we'll get to that audio in just a moment. Christian Wilkins, a good-looking football player who made an immediate impact. There was some talk about him moving out the defensive end, but the defensive ends have played so well that they have the luxury of keeping him inside. Let's hear what he had to say yesterday.
We did a bunch of first down plays. We did first down play and second down. So how many yards they get on first down, it's their second down. So really just a lot of game-like situations where we'll see a lot of them this season. But we're going to have to be good as a defense.
What are some things that you think that the team still needs to improve on?
I mean, well, we made a lot of mistakes today, a lot of penalties, and at least from a segment as a D-tackle, we got to get better forcing the pocket, making the pocket smaller, rushing, pass rushing, getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
Do you think you're prepared to take on an Auburn team right now?
I mean, I don't want to say, well, we still got a long way to go. We still got 20-some days till we have to play again, so that's big. I mean, and with that time, we're going to do our best to prepare and get ready, and I think we will be ready for them come September 3rd.
Some previous year, not ask you ready for them. They don't really tell you about
All right.
Yeah, right. What's your favorite color?
Green. Celtic green. Celtic green. Specific.
What food can you not live without?
Fried chicken. Mama's fried chicken or Granny's fried chicken.
What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
We'll see how to say Niles.
I mean, well, the young guys as a whole, I mean, they're young. They just got to develop more knowledge and get more comfortable with the defensive system and things like that, and really put themselves in a position where they can compete, make plays for us, and really just get comfortable and make sure they're doing all they can to study the playbook, watch film, just really get better at their craft and learn the techniques.
You weigh 345 on Dexter. How would you?
Well, man, I don't know. I hope as well as him. He's pretty. He moves pretty well. So, I mean, it's tough to say, but he moves pretty well for a big guy that size. It's pretty amazing.
No, Jabril been on the outside for a while. Like working in.
I mean, well, we're just gonna see what happens.
Yeah. I was thinking if you could kind of relate to the difficulties. I mean, everyone kept asking you about playing defensive in spring. It's got to be two the world's offense with like crossing the face, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. You're responsible. You have a lot more responsibilities as a defensive end. And I mean, but a lot of the technique stuff is the same. If you're playing a 6 technique, it's just like playing an interior technique, stuff like that. Or if you're playing a 5 type, so a lot of the same. Your techniques are the same. Your hands have to be just right.
Wilkins, Clemson defensive lineman, talking at the Tigers scrimmage yesterday. Good-looking athlete and one of the numerous defensive tackles the Tigers can run in and out of their lineup on the defensive front. And as I said going in, the fact that Austin Bryant has played extremely well at defensive end on one side, the fact that Cleveland Farrell has played well on the other side at defensive end. Richard Jurgen has stepped up at defensive end. You're also talking about Xavier Kelly, the rookie who's come in and played very well. Chris Register, LaSamuel Davis, all those guys have looked good. So they're able now to keep Wilkins inside with the flexibility of flexing him out if they need to do that. So that's a nice luxury for Brent Venables to have in a moment. It's okay. We'll give you a couple of weeks before we start pressing for perfection. You are presenting to everyone. So did it stay on me? So we did. See. Yeah. Okay. All right, coming back with Kentucky here, right? It's their schedule today. We're going to play on Christmas Day at noon against the Knicks this year. I guess we're moving up into marquee status at Madison Square Garden, Sunday, December 25th. That's a good thing, guys. We don't have to do a special Christmas show this year. And Christmas Eve is on the Saturday. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. So New Year's Eve this year is on a Saturday? Okay. So New Year's Day is on a Sunday. So what are they doing with the bowl? They're not going to play the bowl game on that Sunday. They're going to play them on that Monday? NFL. Yeah. Or Saturday. Would they move them all to Saturday? Good pizza. How Cam Newton look? How Cam Newton look? Too bad Pope's not here that week to ridicule Cam. Okay. Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Go Cornblue at Presbyterian here on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Our last stop for this week. We'll be back on the tour next week. If you want to check out the schedule, it's up on our website, sportstalksc.com. So on the 16th, which is is that Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday of next week, we'll be at Benedict College. First ever stop for the Palmetto Pigskin Tour at Benedict. Then on the 17th, the next day, Charleston Southern. Then on the 18th, kind of an unofficial Palmetto Pigskin Tour stop, we'll be at the Citadel Golf Tournament with the fundraising club for the Citadel, the annual golf tournament, the annual kickoff tournament for the Citadel at Patriots Point. We'll be there for that, and that'll be on Thursday. Then the following week on the 22nd at Furman, the 23rd, our first ever stop at North Greenville, the 24th, back at the Citadel, the 25th, Coastal Carolina. So a busy week that week as we head towards game week. And then we turn the corner to the next week on Monday up at Wofford. On Tuesday, our first ever stop at Limestone. And then it's off to Nashville for me from there, on to Nashville to get ready for USC and Vanderbilt, see what the Gamecocks can do in their season opener. We have a preview of Kentucky from Carson Mason coming up momentarily. I'm waiting for the go-ahead for that. And as soon as somebody tells me that we're ready to go, we'll go with it. In the meantime, a couple of other notes from USC. From the Gamecocks practice today, just checking out some of the tweets from some of the reporters there. The Gamecocks have a few guys still in yellow jerseys. So Debo Samuel was not one of those. He was out of yellow working on the kick return team. Banks, Davis, Lamons, and Fenton as well working with the kick return team. Looking at some tweets from David Cloninger of Go Gamecocks. David Williams, guys, at second-team running back tonight. Brandon McElwain, according to Willie Smith of the Greenville News, getting the first-team snaps today. Of course, they've been alternating, so maybe it's just his day. Alan Knott was playing some right guard. Turner remains the number one running back. The number one line continues to be left to right. Zandon, Bailey, Helms, Stanley, and Park. That's a good offensive line, I think, guys. Zandy, big and strong, a lot of experience. Bailey, big and strong, experienced last year. Holmes, a starter, an all-ACC freshman player at Wake Forest. Stanley has a little bit of experience, but they like him. And Park, now, that right side doesn't have a great deal of experience, but has good size and talent, no doubt about it. That's the Dillon County side of the offensive line there with those two, Stanley and Park. All right, I'm told we're ready to go with our Kentucky preview as we take a look at a team from the SEC East. Here's Carson Oga.
The time is now for Mark Stoops to lead this team to greatness at Kentucky. The team has been on the cusp of success for years, but has fallen short recently with 2 back-to-back 5 and 7 seasons. Stoops is in his 4th year as head coach and is ready for the team to take the next step and become competitive in the SEC.
We have the pieces in place. We will take the next step. I've been proud of the progression we've done. Certainly you want more wins along the line, but I know we've done the right things. And we have a great plan in place to continue to push this program, and the players are doing the things necessary to take it to the next step. So we're excited about that and ready to move forward.
In Stoops' time at Kentucky, the Wildcats' overall record hasn't shown much improvement, but the team's standing in the SEC East has. In 2013, the Cats finished 7th in the East, and last year they made the jump to tie for 4th. This year, members of the media predicted them to be 4th again with 933 voted points at SEC Media Day. Perhaps one of the reasons for the optimistic prediction, Stoops said he is determined to change the culture at Kentucky.
The biggest change I'm excited about is the culture change within our program. I think it's very easy to change a climate within a program and very difficult to change the culture. And I'm very proud of the administration, our coaching staff, our players, to continue to push for that winning culture.
Another reason could be the team's quarterback situation. seems to be shaping up nicely. Many teams in the SEC have questionable quarterbacks, but not Kentucky. Stoops is already set on his guy, Drew Barker.
At any level, you got to have great play at quarterback. I feel very good with Drew Barker. Drew Barker started the last 2 games of the season, goes into his redshirt sophomore year, very highly recruited player, and I really am impressed with the growth that he's made both on the field and off. So I'm excited about Drew. He'll get the keys to the car, and I'm excited to watch him go because I know this is his time. I know he's ready to play.
Last season, Barker made his first career start against UNC Charlotte, where he completed 16 of 29 passes for 129 yards. And in his second start, he threw for 128 yards against Louisville. But this year, deal with a pretty tough schedule. Yes, Kentucky is expected to start its season with a win as they open up against the Southern Miss Golden Eagles at home on September 3rd. But from there, it could get pretty dicey. Taking a look at Gainesville to take on SEC East rival Florida. Week 5, they face Coach Saban and the reigning national champions in Birmingham. Week 10, they take on the SEC East favorites Tennessee in Knoxville. And to close out the season, they'll face in-state rival Louisville on the Cardinals' home turf. For Sports Talk, I'm Carson Mason.
All right, Carson Nova. Thank you very much for that report on the Kentucky Panthers up 3-0 on Baltimore in the first quarter. Breaking news out of Vanderbilt. Offensive tackle Andrew Jelks, a knee injury. Reserve quarterback Sean Stankiewicz, both out for the season, according to Coach Derek Mason, talking to reporters there. I don't know what the injury was to Sean Stankiewicz, but offensive tackle Andrew Jelks, knee injury, he's out for the season, according to Derek Mason. So, Vanderbilt, usually early in the year when their frontline players are healthy and able to go, they can be a bit of a problem for you, but then they start losing players. Now they're losing some players even before the season gets here. That's not a good sign for those guys. So that's not what you want to hear, guys, coming out of camp. I don't know how physical they have been so far. And you just kind of, as a coach, you just kind of hold your breath. You got to have the physicality part of it. You hold your breath and hope you can avoid the major injury.
Well, that's key. And of course, as we said before, if you're going to have a major injury, yeah, you lose a player, but you're probably better off if you got at least a little bit of depth to work somebody else in there instead of somebody blowing out a knee the first play of the game when you have no time to adjust. So it'd be interesting to see if Vandy K-Mac has any depth where they can maybe fortify their offensive line.
Well, they're going to have a wideout. They've already announced that. They're getting geared up for the game. I think I was up there a few years ago and they tried a blackout or something like that. Most of them ended up blacked out later on Broadway, but that's a whole nother story.
Couple of notes from Auburn. Lashley, the offensive coordinator, tells reporters Auburn could wait until September 3rd to make a decision on a quarterback. He says, in the back of our minds, we kind of know how things are progressing, but coaches still want to wait to see all 3. And they probably don't want to tip their hands to Clemson. Kevin Steele, I'm standing here, says, let's see, injured linebacker will be fine. Let's see who that is that he's talking about. I love Kevin Steele. You're going to give him a hello for K-Mac when you see him.
Kevin,
I try not to bump into him. I'll tell you, he likes you. I'll just drop your name, and maybe he'll answer my questions. That's usually the only way I can get him to.
I'm his boy. We're Dillon County
he
guys.
Likes you.
He declined to reveal whether linebacker Trey Williams returned to practice today. I don't normally comment on injuries. I guess you know that. Medical report. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
According to Kevin.
They love talking to Kevin Steele every day up there.
All right, that's going to do it. That's going to do it. Thanks to the folks here at Presbyterian for taking great care of us. We appreciate it. And thank you, K-Mac, Professor, Carson Nova, and Jarmart, and all of you out there. We'll see you tomorrow night back in Columbia. Have a great night. for River Bluff football player was inconclusive. That's not what you want to hear. Okay. Now I want to hear, I want to hear there's a reason. I don't want to hear inconclusive. Tribute. Okay. Get some praise. All right. All right, let me get my clock here. All right, here we go. Coming down in 3, 2, 1. USC plans to watch offensive lineman Austin Pine of Ashburnham, Massachusetts this football season. He's 6'4", 285. He visited USC over the weekend along with his younger brother and his father. His family has deep roots in both college and professional football. He also made stops at Penn State, Virginia, North Carolina, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and West Virginia. He's still waiting on his first major offer. Louisville continues to lead USC for receiver Justin Marshall of Covington, Georgia. Those two, along with Maryland, Tennessee, Auburn, West Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, and Oregon, make up his short list. He plans to make his announcement on August 15th. USC target athlete Shakur Brown of Stockbridge, Georgia, picked up an offer from Florida. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina Radio Network Sports. USC plans to watch offensive. All right, here we go. Coming down in 1. USC plans to. Real football. From Florida. Target athlete should pick up an offer from Florida. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina, plans to make his announcement. Father, his family has deep roots. Austin Pine of Ashburnham, Massachusetts this football season. He's 6'4", 285. He visited USC over the weekend along with his younger brother from Florida. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina Radio Network Sports. Brown of Stockbridge make up his short list. He plans to make his announcement on over the week. 85. He visited USC over the weekend along with his younger brother and his father. His family has USC over the weekend along with his younger brother and his father. His family has deep roots in both college and professional football. He also made stops at Penn State, Virginia, North Carolina, Syracuse. Today was Thursday, right? Yeah, I can. Can he? You think? Yeah. Is K-Mac still there? Is he gone? Okay. Tomorrow we've got no practice. McCuna, Hutzler, offensive, defensive players available at the stadium following meetings, walkthrough. So I'll grab them at 11:30 tomorrow. $11:30 tomorrow. Then Saturday, no media. Sunday, no media. Okay. That sounds good. Do y'all want to meet for lunch tomorrow after I finish up at the stadium to talk about the football stuff? Or you just want to wait till later in the afternoon? Yeah, and check with Kim and see if it's something that works with him. I mean, I don't care. I can come back in earlier. That's not a problem. Not a problem. All right, we will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.